setup, and emotional pain. I'm a 46-year-old mom of two teenage daughters, 17 and 15. Last year, my ex-husband died in a car accident. You'd think his passing might have brought some peace after years of infidelity and lies. Instead, it opened the floodgates to more pain. He left behind two sons from his affair, children my girls discovered themselves. They were traumatized, broken, and already in therapy. But here's the kicker. Not only did my ex betray us, but his parents, my ex-in-laws, decided to make my daughters and me their punching bags. These people, 78 and 80 years old, started pushing for custody of my girls while also trying to move in with us. Yes, they wanted to live under my roof, as if I owed them anything after everything their son did. Conflict escalation, the market incident. The final straw started on what should have been a happy day, my youngest's birthday. We were at the weekend farmers market, a place filled with laughter, music, and the smell of fresh bread. I gave her money to treat herself. She wandered off with her sister, excited for chocolate and sweets. But then my phone rang. Her voice was shaking, filled with fear. "Mom, some ladies won't let me go. They're saying awful things." I ran through that market, heart pounding, every muscle ready to fight. And there they were, 6 elderly women, circling my crying daughter like vultures. They accused her of being unchristian, for refusing to spend time with her grandparents, for not being a good big sister to her so-called baby brothers. My eldest clutched her sister's hand, glaring but trembling. And me? I stepped in, my body blocking my girls from that mob. "Go pay for your things, get to the car," I told my eldest. Then I turned to those women, faces I recognized from my ex-in-law's church. They sneered, calling me a failure, saying I was disobeying my husband's parents like a bad Christian wife. The audacity, the venom in their voices was so loud, we got thrown out of the market. Even followed us to the car, spewing hate. That night, after my girls finally cried themselves to sleep, I sat at my computer shaking with rage. That's when I found out the truth. The betrayal, church smear campaign. A friend from that same church told me what really happened. My ex-MIL had posted a sob story in their Facebook group. She painted me and my daughters as villains, claiming we'd left them homeless, penniless, and cruelly abandoned. She even said the affair children were actually surrogates we'd rejected because they were boys. But here's what that church didn't know. This wasn't about surrogacy or Christian duty. This was about my ex cheating for years, with his parents' full knowledge and support. And lucky for me, I had receipts. Turning point, the decision for revenge. You see, before his death, my ex and I were in the middle of a divorce, which meant I had evidence, photos, texts, emails, everything I'd collected to prove his infidelity. And because the divorce never finalized, I could release it without legal blowback. That night, staring at my computer screen, a plan crystallized. If my ex-MIL wanted to weaponize her church against me, then I would show them the truth in a way they couldn't ignore. The revenge plan. The next day, I marched to a print shop. I paid extra to make everything perfect, crisp, glossy pages. Photos of my ex and his mistress in our living room. Screenshots of texts dripping with lies and betrayal. Emails of my ex-in-laws calling my daughters bastards and blaming them for their father's death. Then I went home and carefully assembled binders, dozens of them, each one disguised like a hymn packet the church hands out during service. The first page? A crystal clear photo of my ex and his mistress kissing. Underneath, bold letters. Ex-husband's name and affair partner's name, a love story. The next Sunday, I slipped those binders into the stack at the church's entrance. And then I waited. Climactic payoff, sweet justice. The fallout was swift and brutal. By the end of the service, the gossip mill was on fire. The Facebook group turned into a battlefield. People were furious, not at me, but at my ex and his parents for lying, for covering up, for harassing my daughters. Even the pastor had to step in to calm people down, and from what I heard, the words thrown around were so vicious he had to censor half the posts. Letters of apology showed up in my mailbox. My daughters were finally treated like victims instead of villains. And my ex-in-laws? Shunned, cast out by their beloved church community. They were forced to leave in shame, their reputations in tatters. My ex-MIL took to her personal Facebook wall, crying about how no one respects the elderly anymore, how her son would have taken care of her if he were still alive. The irony? I was always the breadwinner. Reflection and moral. I didn't just protect my daughters. I gave them back their dignity. And I reminded my ex-in-laws of a lesson they'll never forget. If you try to build your lives on the foundation of faith, sooner or later, the truth will burn it all down.